Hey everyone, good lovely afternoon. It is me, Jasmine. How are you folks doing? I hope you guys are having a splendid day wherever you're at. So I just got home. I got home about 20 minutes ago. I was out and about, just taking care of some stuff. I also went and got lunch. So I went to Home Depot. Also went to the UPS store, and also FedEx. I had to send out something. Then I went and got me a burger, and also a large drink, a large Pepsi Zero Sugar. So I figured I would do a quick chit chat video. I wanted to go look at some bonsai trees, but I figured I would just come here and just do a chit chat video. I may do the bonsai trees on another day. Also, after this video, I gotta jump on my computer right here, just take care of a few stuff. Anyways, so greetings. I hope you are all doing fine and lovely. Um, we kind of went through, I guess, a little bit of a heat wave. It was pretty warm outside a number of days ago. Now it's fine, but it got a little hot a number of days ago. But it's nothing compared to folks in like Arizona, Texas, and Nevada. So if you live in any of those areas, please, please take steps to protect yourself. As a matter of fact, let me just check because I'm heading. Let me see here. I am heading to Utah. Now it is hot over there. Let me check another city. Let's see how scorching hot it is. Oh my goodness. Goodness gracious. Let's see what the weather is there. Oh my. Yeah, it is hot in other parts of the country. Let's see what the weather is in Arizona. Oh my goodness. Listen, let me tell you. Arizona, that heat down there is no joke. I've spent time in Arizona, and I remember I was in Phoenix. This was many years ago. And I remember I woke up at like 1:30 or 2 a.m. in the morning. And I stepped outside. So it was nice and cool, in the house, because obviously, if you live in Arizona, you have to have air conditioning. Unlike a lot of places in the Pacific Northwest. But if you live in Arizona, you gotta have air conditioning. I remember I woke up, it was 1:30 or 2 in the morning, and I stepped outside. And let me tell you, it was like 103 degrees outside. It was so hot, even at like 1:30, 2 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, and that's just, Phoenix is no joke. So if you're like there, if you're anywhere near that area right now, take steps to protect yourself, because that heat is really unbearable. Anyway, so I also have a list here. I jotted down some stuff that I want to talk about. I may not get to all of them. I'll at least touch on a couple of them, and then I'll just save the rest for another video. I just want to do this quick chit chat, and then I'll jump on my computer. I gotta take care of some stuff. So I was watching. Oh no, that's a separate topic, and I talk about that later. Anyway, so I opened this. This is not really like brand new, recent news. I think it was sometime last week. So I opened Google Chrome on my phone, and when you open Google Chrome, or not Google, yeah, Google Chrome, but like not on your home page. As a matter of fact, let me see what the setup is like. So when you open Google Chrome, Yeah, so when you open basically the Google Chrome app, but so it's on the landing page before you enter any particular URL that you need to go to. Google will list will show you a list of like breaking news, or not necessarily breaking news, but what's like trending online, so to speak. And there was this particular news item that caught my attention, and I figured I would write it down on my YouTube topic list to talk about it. So, um, in Barcelona, Spain, as a matter of fact, let me see if that thing is still ongoing. Let me see here real quick. Oh my goodness, it's still trending. Oh my goodness, that's not good. Okay, so thousands of people in Barcelona took part in a protest. And the locals went about it is what caught my attention and what made me decide to put that topic on my YouTube pad, YouTube to talk about list. Can you guys hear me? Oh yeah, okay, I got my microphone plugged in. So the tourists, or rather the locals, were out harassing and attacking tourists, not only throwing things at them but shooting at them with water pistols. And I guess the reason why they're doing that is the city is, I guess they have it they have a an ongoing crisis, if I could put it that way. They have a local problem with the rising cost of living. Now Barcelona is, it's everyone knows about Barcelona. It's a popular city. I've never been to Barcelona, but of course, I think it's safe to say half of the world have heard of Barcelona, if not on travel sites, at least on like soccer, the world of soccer. So the locals are attacking tourists and demanding that they go back home. Now, the way I see the whole situation is, now, there's a way to express your anger. You have your elected representatives. If you participate in local elections, and you also pay attention to local issues, you go out there and you vote. One, two, there's a way to make your voice heard. Now, I don't know how bad it is over there, such that the locals are taking to attacking tourists. But that's not to me, that's actually a very dangerous tactic. Perception is very important, especially in the world of tourism. People, when you think of places to go to, you kind of, romanticize, you have good feel images of the place. No, of course, nobody wants to go visit. Nobody wants to go as a tourist to visit, places where, in your gut feeling you may be kidnapped or tortured. No, that's not how. Those are not the things that people have in their mind when they think of going on vacation. No, they think of positive things, good things, beautiful things. Oh, I'm gonna see this. I'm gonna see that. So perception is important. And when people think of Barcelona, it's you do not want, if you're like a local official, you do not want Barcelona to be associated with what's going on, locals attacking tourists. Now, I don't know how bad the situation is there, but It looks like the local government, city hall, whatever they have there. They need to take note. They need to start paying attention. Um, Now, obviously, Barcelona is a very popular destination. A lot of people go there. Now, it's not okay. It gets a lot of tourists. Now, the more visitors come in, obviously, that's going to put a lot of stress. There's only so much a city can handle, and of course, all of that. When you get all of that tourism, you're going to have competition, not just for everyone wants to cash in on that, and everybody wants to come in for the jobs, and of course that's a lot of competition for whatever few resources they have, and so that drives up the cost. You know all that, you've heard of all of that talk and all of that language, and you know how that goes. um so we know about that. Now, the issue with Barcelona is, and this speaks to the number of tourists that goes there. Barcelona is, Spain is in European Union, so when people visit Barcelona, it's not like everybody has to fly in. People can drive there. If you're like from, I don't know, Geneva, you can drive. It's almost like Los Angeles. Not everybody that goes to visit, not everybody that goes to Los Angeles as a tourist fly there. I can get in my car and drive to Los Angeles and spend maybe a week there, and I'll do touristy stuff, and I'm putting stress in the resort. I'm using the water, I'm turning on the lights, I'm driving on the road, so um I'm being a tourist, and I'm also using resources there. And so the situation with Barcelona is like the same thing. You may have like a good number of tourists that drive in, and then you have others that fly in. And so I don't know if Barcelona is able to really, really, you know, uh, get a handle of that. I mean, I guess they can. When it comes to tourism, it is indeed possible to limit how many tourists come into a city. There are a variety of ways you can every country, they big or small, every government has a vested interest in who flies in, and so forth, who flies into their airports. And so they can look at all the flights that are coming in and say, all right, such and such airline, instead of flying twice, 2 flights per day, 7 days a week, we're going to cut that down. We're going to cut that down to such, maybe 2 flights a day, only 3 days per week. And then there's also these situations like maybe like a national park. You can say, okay, we'll only accept 100 visitors per day. Reservations required this much in advance. And so there are a variety of ways that you can control the tourism. But the problem that I see with Barcelona, which is also the problem with places like Los Angeles, is people can just drive in. And so, unlike the airlines where you can keep a tally, like, okay, how many flights came in, how many passengers are in there, they're all from this country, it's safe to say 90% of them are going to be tourists. You can kind of, it helps to know how many people are coming in. But if people are just driving in, like I can drive to Los Angeles right now, and Los Angeles, the mayor, nobody there would know that I'm coming there as a tourist. And then I check into a hotel, and maybe go walk by the beach, and of course, then I'm using resources. And so, you know, so it's, for me, it's not a situation where I have to call in and say, hey, Los Angeles Tourism Bureau, I'm coming this day, and this day. Put me on the tourism visitor log. No, that's so I'm kind of like a tourist, but at the same time, I'm an unaccounted for. Like they don't know that I'm heading there, if that makes sense. And so I think that's like the situation with Barcelona, where a lot of people drive in because the European Union, it's kind of like an open, an open space. Anyone in that's within the EU can drive to and fro. So the people that were being attacked, I mean, if they say that, thousands of people were out there basically protesting, and some took to attacking tourists. How do you know that? For starters, how do you know that that was that particular, like one particular tourist that got pelted, that got fired at by a water gun? What if that was another local, just that lived halfway across the city and maybe decided to come in downtown and have a lunch? Or how do you know that the tourist was just not from like the other part of the country or a neighboring EU state? Um, I mean, there's when you're flying to a particular place to go do touristy stuff. It's not like you're wearing a badge or something that says, "Hey, I'm from Australia. I'm from New Zealand. I'm from Thailand." Not that's not you don't wear anything that gives you away that that's a tourist. Let's attack that one. No. So I mean, so I'm curious, like the locals that were protesting and attacking the tourists. How do you know that? For starters, how do you know that that's a tourist right there? What if that's your neighbor? What if that's your coworker? And can you imagine if like a local is like screaming and yelling, "Tourists go home!" Throws a tomato at a person eating at a cafe, and then the person lowers their glass, and then they're like, "Oh my goodness, it's my coworker." That would be so silly. It's not a laughing matter, I know, but I think there's a better way to talk about this. There's a better way to approach and deal with this than to attack tourists, because perception is everything. You do not want. That's why, you know, countries, popular tourist destination cities, they are very, very, very obsessed with their image in the media. There was a situation in Thailand where I think they were a British tourist. Um, they were killed in Thailand and stuff like that, where they have the potential to get magnified. They hit the news stream, and they get talked all over, and every pretty much every news organizations around the world starts blasting them. Countries that rely heavily on tourists, they do not like that. They do not like that because it scares people. It really does scare people, and perception is everything. And think people will hold on to stuff like that. And so the situation in Barcelona, I don't know what the discussion is going on in their local city halls, but I'm sure it's not good ones, and I'm sure they are frustrated about this kind of stuff hitting the airwaves, being broadcasted around the world that, hey, the locals there are attacking tourists. I mean, listen, the tourists that go to Barcelona, okay, let me use my neck of the woods as an example. The tourists that come to the Pacific Northwest, they come here with, I'm not gonna say, I don't know if good intent is a right characterization, but I will say, the tourists that come here, they come here with money. They want to spend money. They want to enjoy the beauty of the Pacific Northwest, whether it's going on a hike, shopping, renting cars, renting a kayak, renting a cabin, paying a tour guide, paying a hike guide. You name it. They'll go to the gas station to fuel up as they drive around the Pacific Northwest. So that when tourists come in, they come in with good feels and intent of spending money. Um, and so, when the folks in Barcelona were attacking the tourists, it's as if they see the tourists there as people that came in with an ill intent, with an intent to destroy something about the, maybe I don't know, destroy the city, bring the city to ruins, and I think that is a wrong. The way they went about it, what in my opinion is completely wrong, because the tourists, they're there to spend money that gets pumped into the economy. And I think that the frustration should have been taken out on the local officials, the local governments. Um, if I if I had an issue with tourism in the Pacific Northwest, I would write to, my local representative and air my grievances. I'm not going to take it on a tour on a tourist that may have flown in from Japan to come to the Pacific Northwest to enjoy the beauty of the Pacific Northwest. Why am I going to do that when that tourist is spending money, and that money goes to the roads, goes to the schools, goes to the utilities, goes to, that's you know attacking tourists is not the way to go. Now, if you have a problem with the amount of tourists that come in, then there are ways to deal with that. You talk to your representatives. The representatives in turn, look at the flights that come in. They look at the touristy spots that they know tourists like to go to. Then they start making, putting limits. We'll only accept this amount of flights per week. We'll put a cap on how many visitors per day can access these sites. We'll increase the prices, and so maybe that'll cut off a slice of travelers. There are ways you can go about that, but attacking tourists directly is not the way to go. That's just not the way to go, because again, when tourists go into a place, it's safe to say tourists don't fly in with evil intent. No, they fly in with the intent to flush the local economy with cash, spend money. They rent rooms, they rent cars, they eat out, they buy gas to fill up their car rentals. They rent kayaks, they rent boats, they pay tour companies. That's money that then pays wages for the local population. So I just think the way they went about it, was it effective? Was it effective to some extent in bringing attention to the issue of rising cost of living? Yes, but is a tactic like that going to leave damages? Yes, because again, perception is everything. You're attacking the people that are bringing in money. And situation like that should never, if anything, tourists should never ever be even made aware of. They should not even have to hear about any of that, because you want your city, you want your region, you want your neck of the woods to, in the minds of outsiders, in the minds of tourists, you want nothing but good images, good visualization. That's the only thing you want in the. I live in the Pacific Northwest. I love the Pacific Northwest. I am really familiar with the Pacific Northwest. I have driven so many miles around the Pacific Northwest. Very, very familiar with its beauty, what it has to offer. When people think of the Pacific Northwest, I want them to think nothing but incredible vistas, in breathtaking views, scenic views, nice drives, waterfalls, beautiful peaks, nice hikes. That's the only thing I want in their minds. I don't want them to know about the, the local politics that are pulling folks to and fro in you know, and the greener side and the drier side of the Pacific Northwest. No, I don't want any of the local issues that may be, animating the local population. I don't want them knowing about that. No, just please, just I want you to just think about the good things about the Pacific Northwest. Multnomah Falls, Palouse Falls, Mount Rainier. Think about the beautiful the rock formations by Pistol Rivers down in Oregon. Think about the beautiful things about the Pacific Northwest. Leave the ugly stuff to us, and we'll talk about that. And so, I don't know what was going on in the minds of the locals, how bad the situation is there, but to attack tourists, that's really, really sad. Like, it's really, really, really sad because at the end of the day, those tourists are the people that are, and this is really, really true for many, many parts of the world. Those local tourists are what keeps that city alive, and in some parts of the world, maybe even in some countries. Let's say, for example, the Saipan, the Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas, which is a U.S. Commonwealth, in the Mariana Islands, in the Western Pacific. It wasn't the news recently. I think they were the local officials they wrote to. Hold on, give me a second. I know I saw it somewhere. Let's see here. I saw it in one of the local news. Give me seconds. All right, see, here's the article. Let me read it. And this goes to show how important tourists are and why you should never ever take the route that the locals in Barcelona took. Quote, and I'm reading from the Saipan Tribune. The Saipan Chamber of Commerce warns that should no immediate action be taken to increase visitor arrivals, the CNMI, which stands for Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Islands, the CNMI economy faces a complete collapse. So if you're like a city, a country, a territory, a commonwealth, what have you, and you rely on tourists, that you're in the tourism industry, you have a tourism economy, you should not be attacking your tourists. Imagine something like that happening in Las Vegas. Oh my goodness, that would. For starters, I don't think that. I cannot see that ever happening in Las Vegas, Nevada. But that would raise a lot of eyebrows because a city like Las Vegas, it is. I mean, yes, you have your gas stations and a few warehouses here and there. Some economic activities, but by large part, the city is a tourist destination. It's a gambling destination, and if locals there start attacking tourists down at the strip, yelling at them to go home, what do you think is going to be the end result of that? It's not going to be a good one. So, for folks to go out there and march and protest and attack tourists, the situation there must be very dire. And I read in that article that folks were mentioning that the cost of living, especially in that part of the world, especially in Barcelona, has been going up. Just going up nonstop. for many years, and that is a serious situation that does need to be, it needs to be talked about, it needs to be addressed, because folks that they have to be able to pay rent, and if you're like somebody that's lived there for generation after generation, and then if all of a sudden you find yourself unable to afford even like a simple house, a simple apartment, that's not a good situation, not a really good situation for the not just the economy of the area, but the population, because it you price out a segment of the population, they become desperate, um, and when folks are put in a situation where they have to you know juggle and have to make painful decisions on whether to pay this or pay that, folks will hit the streets. They'll hit the streets and they'll start protesting. And so I hope that the local leaders there are paying attention. I hope that they are indeed paying attention, because the news that's coming out of Barcelona is not good. It does not paint a pretty picture of Barcelona. It does not indeed. You never want, especially if you're like a touristy area, you never want bad news, because that can chase away people. Now, would that be a would something like that, chasing away people, would that be a welcomed news to the local protesters? Yes, but that's not a sustainable tactic. That's not the right way to go about it, because you could, it's one thing to chase away tourists for a few months, but if that has a prolonged impact, if people stop coming, once the noise quiets down and you sort out the local issues, the cost of living and so forth, but the tourists are not coming, in a healthy number, then now you have another problem. Now you have another problem. Maybe there won't be enough jobs. There will not be enough jobs to go around and so forth. And so, it's a delicate situation. Anyway, so I just wanted to briefly, I don't know if I would call it briefly, it's almost half an hour. So I just wanted to touch on that. The other one that I wanted to talk about, and listen, this other story really shocked me. As a matter of fact, let me see if it is still trending. This is out of China. This really shocked me. Now let me read. Let me see here. Let me just read this briefly to you. And this is from the food safety website. It says, Chinese fuel tankers being used to transport both fuel and food oil products without any cleaning process between them. Frightening, it is indeed. So, I'm assuming, okay, you have a huge tanker with gasoline. You go to a gas station, you plug it into the tank, you empty all of that out, disconnect your tank, then you go to another warehouse, another spot, and then you plug in a food oil hose, and then you fill it up, and as that oil is coming in, it kind of gets mixed with the gasoline. And I'm going through that step by step just to help you visualize the situation. Not only is that insane, insanely frightening, insanely disgusting, But that also raises a lot of question because, and hear me out, the human the human mind, or let me put it this way, people, it is natural. It is natural. That's just human nature. It is natural to want to take shortcuts. It's natural to want to. It's natural to want to gain, to the get the most maximum benefit with as little labor as possible. It's, in other words, those truckers, those tankers, the folks that were moving things to and fro, they want to get paid fast. They want to get paid. They want to make a lot of money, as much money as possible, with as little downtime as possible, and get away with a lot of the things that in some parts of the world are absolute requirement. And when you have that kind of mindset and no regulation to deal with that, when you have that kind of mindset and you know you can get away with it, you're going to employ that mindset in other areas too. So this stuff about, food oil being transported in the same tank as other chemicals. Let me see here. So this story about cooking oil being transported in the same tanker, in the same tankers that are used also for fuel, that has hit the news. What else is out there that are still, that have yet to be reported on? Again, when you engage in that type of activity, when you do that type of stuff that is not good, but you have been getting away with it for so long, and getting away with it is or doing that and getting away with it is the only way you can see that those profits that you've grown used to. When you have a situation like that, you're gonna pull the same stunt in other areas. I mean, what else are these truckers hauling? What else are they moving to and fro? Dare I say, the medical industry. I mean, what if the same kind of stuff is happening in other fields? I mean, you go into surgery and you have a plate of surgical equipments. Who's to say those things have never actually been sanitized and cleaned? That just came to mind, but I don't think that's a good that's analogous. But it's but I am serious when I say that when people realize that they can take shortcuts, get away with it, and still get the maximum results that they desire, in their mind even better, at a shorter amount of time, they're going to pull the same stunts in other areas. They are going to pull the same stunts in other areas. And so that when I saw that, I was like, that is disgusting. Now, I'm assuming when they empty the fuel, I don't know, like, the interior of the tank is still going to be coated. There's still going to be like a residue, like a thin film of fuel. And at the bottom, where the hose is connected, I don't know if all of that fuel empties out. So when they fill it up with cooking oil, the cooking oil, I'm assuming, will remove the film and the walls, and then kind of shakes it up and mixes it up. So maybe it's some of the fuel get mixed with the cooking oil, but it's not enough to cause any physical, like for example, like a person may vomit or whatever. Maybe it's not in high quantity to really have like an immediate effect, in your and your stomach, your body, whatever. But still, the idea of it is really kind of disgusting. And I think there was even talk about this was a while back. I think news about I think it was also out of China. Was it like gutter oil or gutter grease? Let me see here. Basically what it is give me a second there. So basically what it is folks collect. Oh, hold on, I just opened the picture. Oh my goodness, that is disgusting. They collect like grease. Hold on. So they collect grease that's kind of like out there, I guess, been thrown away, and then I guess they cook it up or do something to it. Then they I guess, when you collect grease, it's gonna come with little particles and dust and whatever, and little pebbles, whatever's out there. And you gotta cook it up and separate the impurities, and then collect the oil and resell it, whatever. So there was that story out there, and so I think, anyways, let me wrap this up, because it's just it's just not something that very, very pleasant. But I think what it is they just need, I guess the Chinese government just they need and I'm not sure if they have it, something like an equivalent of like let me see here. They need like a food safety and inspection service. Something equivalent to like a USDA. And listen, I know that even with when countries grow, as countries develop, countries will go through those rough spots. Or I don't know if I would call it the industrialized age, the industrialized era, or industrialized stage. It's like, for example, here in the States, and that's a lot of factories were just like dumping into waterways and so forth, and a lot of the things that were happening eventually brought about the EPA, because it got to a point where folks were saying, not only is that not healthy, that's dangerous, that will affect people and all of that. So that's why we have agencies, that's why we have people that have a job of going out there to make sure that their regulations are being followed, and so forth and so forth. And I don't care what people say about how there's regulations here and there. Those do have a benefit to society. When I am eating something, when I'm taking a supplement, or when I'm doing this and this and that, I want to be comfortable, and I want to know that not only did this particular product or this particular thing here pass rigorous testing, but there's somebody other that's making sure that there's no funny games going on. Are there still people that are trying to cheat the system? Absolutely. And so I think what just needs to happen in other parts of the world, more specifically in China, is they just need a more robust monitoring system, a more robust regulatory system, especially when it comes to food, because it's people take their food seriously. People take their food seriously, and stuff like that. And I do not doubt it. They're gonna make some changes. It's one thing to tell others, to tell someone else in another part of the country that you need to make this and this and this and this, these types of changes. It's one thing to do that, and that typically is not effective. But it's a different story when it happens in your neck of the woods and your own people are telling you this is wrong. That type of scenario is when changes are most effective, when it's from the ground up, when the shock of it all, the disgust of it all is from the local population. That's because stuff like that will affect people's values, people's belief system, and when it affects you personally, that's when you stand up and say, that's wrong, you can't do that anymore. We need to put into place some sort of regulation to ensure that you do not transport oil and gasoline in the same tanker without cleaning the tank in between. So hopefully something like that will change. Now the issue that I see in a place like China is China has over 1 billion population. To put that into perspective, here in the United States, we have a population of less than 400 million. As a matter of fact, let me get the precise number. The United States population is 333 million. Let's see what's the rest of that number. the US population is 336,734,461. Compare that with 1 billion population. So, I understand that what may be easy for us here in the States to have systems to deal with, EPA, food regulations, and so forth, may be a tad difficult in a much large, like really large population, but not entirely impossible. Especially since in China the population is largely homogeneous. Here in America we have a very diverse population. So hopefully they'll stop doing that, because now I don't know about you, but if I ever heard that one of my favorite restaurants was using gutter oil or was using oil delivered to them in that kind of a tanker truck that was used with another chemical and another product but not washed, you're not getting any business from me anymore. I'm not gonna eat there, and sayonara, goodbye, adios. Let's see what else is on my list. So see, what time is it? No, I think I'll save those other two for another video. Yeah, there's a live stream happening right now, and I wanna jump on that. I wanna listen to that. Oh, let me just talk a little tech. So, listen, Samsung recently released the Galaxy Z Flip 6. I don't know why I say Galaxy Zip, Galaxy Zip. No, Samsung Galaxy released the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip. Before I go any further, Samsung, we need to do better with these names. For starters, I don't know how you came up with the Z in the Z Flip. You could have just said Galaxy Flip or Galaxy Fold. We gotta do better with these names because some of them are not only tongue twisters, but some of these names don't sound like they are going to age well. So let's go back to the drawing board. But anyways, so Samsung recently released the Galaxy Z Flip 6 and the Galaxy Z Fold. Let me see. Let me just make sure I got the right one. The Galaxy Z Fold 6 and the Galaxy Z Flip 6 and the Galaxy Watch Ultra and the Galaxy Buds 3 regular version and the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro. Except for the Z Flip 6, the others didn't really catch my attention. I mean, I was looking at the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro. Now the thing is, I do have the iPod, AirPods rather, AirPods Pro. Where the heck are those? And they're nice. I do like the stem design, but I'm somebody that I much prefer a wired headset. I much prefer a wired headset because when I put on like earphones, it's usually for a situation where I will have it in for hours and I do not have to worry about battery dying. Plus, the reason why I like wired headset is when I'm out and about, the presence of an earphone cord and them in your ear tells people that you're probably occupied. So for me, I use that as like a sign. Don't talk to me. I have my earphones on. I'm listening to my music. I'm listening to something on YouTube. Don't talk to me, please. So that's why I like wired earphones. And I mean, I barely use. I have an AirPods. I even have these. I don't know what generation of these, but it's like Samsung stuff. I mean, listen, you name it. I've tried it. I've bought it. I've tried it, and I've come to a point where I know what I want. Now, what really caught my attention is, and I think I may get it, is the Galaxy Z Flip 6. I was not interested in the earlier, the prior year version and the year before that, because I just listen, or when it comes to phones like that, I'm not going to say that they're niche products. I mean, they've become somewhat popular, but when it comes to like foldables, like stuff like that, I am not an early adopter. Meaning I'm not going to buy the first generation of that product. No, I will take a back seat and I will make observations. I will watch the reviews, watch the 1 year review, the 2 year review, just to see how the product has aged and so forth. And I'll typically wait, after a few years and when, the product has been refined. And I think the Z Flip 6 has refined it to a point where it catches my attention. Now, I did buy a Motorola Flip device was it last year? I ended up returning it. It's just, going from a Samsung phone to a Motorola phone to me was a very frustrating experience. So I ended up just returning it. But this Z Flip here is I think I'll get it, and it's just because I want the idea of being able to flip that phone and make it a smaller footprint appeals to me. But I was just thinking yesterday, like, okay, and I'm looking at like my phones, and I'm like, which of these phones am I going to replace that with? Because I'm not going to buy a phone if I'm not going to have an actual use for it. The only phone that comes closest to that is a phone that sits in my living room, and its sole purpose is just to play music to a speaker system. But other than that, every phone has a use for has a function, and any phone that I'm gonna get to moving forward has to have a purpose. And so I was thinking, okay, what am I going to replace that with? Maybe should I replace it with this thing here? Should I replace it? And at minimum, I gotta have an Android, and also at minimum, I gotta have an iOS device, because I want to be able to keep up with the times. You know, I gotta be able to know what, you know, how to work my way around an iOS device and also an Android device. So that's what I'm thinking about now. As for the watch, now I've tried an Android smartwatch. I've tried an Apple smartwatch. Smartwatches I've come to learn are just not for me. I'm still very old school. I'll stick with this type of watch. Give me this type of watch, and I'm happy. And I do have this and also another regular watch, but they're just like, you know, like I don't like smartwatch. You gotta charge the battery. You gotta charge the battery. If not every other night, you know, every third night or so forth. But that's just that the thought of that does not appeal to me. This watch here, I'll change the battery every 4 or 5 years. So that's just a little bit of tech talk. I may get the Z Flip 6. If I do, I will do a review about it. But for now, I'm literally still debating which of these phones am I going to replace it with? Which of this, like I was literally looking at my phone. It's like, what am I going to replace it with? Not with that one. I know that one. I can't replace it with that. Not with this iPhone. I can't replace it with that. Not with this one, because I'm using this for my vlogging, and not that. So if I do get it, if I can't think of a reason to replace it with, I'll probably still get it, because I'm really intrigued by it. And I'm probably the other option that I'm thinking of is I'm probably going to use it just as a bedside gadget, meaning I'll only use it when I'm in bed. Like it'll be like in my the bedside table, and so when I'm in bed, I'll just pull it out, and then I'll just surf on YouTube, whatever. Because when it comes to using a phone while in bed, I pay attention to the weight. I don't like surfing on a phone that's heavy. That's like, for example, I have this iPhone 15 Pro Max. It's too heavy, and this Galaxy Ultra device I'm using to record, it's too unwieldy. I like to be able to surf comfortably on a phone and not have to like lower my hand because it's too heavy. So I looked at the weight, and it's not that heavy compared to some of these devices. So if anything, if I get it, it may just be like a bedside gadget. I'll just use it when I'm in bed, surf the web and so forth. So that's that. That's a little bit of tech talk. Anyway, so this is nearing an hour. So with that said, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, I hope that you will hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you in the next upload. All right, I'm going to wrap this up because I got to jump on my computer. All right, bye-bye.